welcome to Archaeologists Behaving Badly. I'm Belle.
I'm Raquel.
And this is episode 21.
Yep.
And we are doing it on ancient Greece.
Yeah. We did one on Rome and we thought, why not?
Might as well.
May as well. Yeah, so I'm going first.
And before we start, can we just actually...
It's a lot. It's a lot. I apologize. I was a little bit stressed this morning and there was panic. There was...
And so you wrote a dissertation.
I did, yeah. That's apparently what I do. That's what I do when I get a bit stressed. So I might not read all of it because this is going to be like a 2-hour long podcast episode otherwise. And we don't want that. No one wants that. So, okay. So my next one is about the Eleusinian Mysteries. Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
This is something that I'm weirdly really into.
Anything, any book, any movie, any story, anything with mystery in the title, and
You're down. You're in. It's so I'm just gonna give like a bit of a recount of like what we know about it. But there is a great book called The Immortality Key that is really, really great. So if people are interested in this topic, they should search that up. It's really cool. It blew my mind. So the Eleusinian Mysteries were annual initiations dedicated to the cult of Demeter and Persephone at the sanctuary of Eleusis in ancient Greece. Often regarded as the most famous secret religious rites of the time, they trace their roots back to Bronze Age agrarian practices, possibly linked to Mycenaean traditions as well.
And this is the same cult from the region?
Yes,
Yeah.
it would be. Cult of Demeter would be a similar thing to this, or would be connected to this in some way, I would imagine. So these mysteries centered around the myth of Persephone's abduction by Hades and unfolded in 3 phases: the descent, loss, the search, and the ascent, highlighting Persephone's return and reunion with her mother. So I haven't written this down and I'm probably going to get this a little bit muddled up, but the mythology is that Demeter, it's all connected as well to like the seasons. So Demeter's daughter Persephone was abducted by Hades and made her his wife. But she was allowed to go back to the world, or to like the living world with her mother at a certain point every year. And I think that's how they kind of got their seasons.
Okay.
So when winter came, it was because Demeter was depressed, because like Persephone was back with Hades. And I think that there's a connection there.
Yeah.
So this major festival flourished during the Hellenic era and even spread into Rome, echoing similar agricultural rites found in Near Eastern cultures and Minoan Crete.
Cool.
The rituals were kept secret, but for those initiated. Persephone's rebirth symbolized eternal life and a promised reward in the afterlife. Artifacts like pottery and paintings depict various elements of the mysteries. And I've seen this in Pompei.
Cool.
Yeah, so I don't know what it's called, but there's like a section in Pompei. So Pompei is obviously not Greek, it's Roman. But there is so Pompei is fucking huge. It is enormous. And when I was there, it was the middle of summer, in the middle of the day. It was fucking hot. And I tried to like see as much as possible, basically, with the time I had.
Doing any sort of touristy stuff.
Yeah.
When it's hot.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
It was too much.
Because even if you see stuff, you can't like take it in properly. You're just like, oh,
I know.
Next thing, like, let's just get this over with.
Yeah, I just want to be in air conditioning, make it stop, kind of thing. But it's so cool. I'm going to put up some photos and stuff. But there was this part of it that was like on the other side, kind of away from the main area that you go and look at, again, Pompeii is fucking huge. It is way bigger than you think it is.
Yeah.
It is like literally like you're just walking through a city. It's huge. And so you like walk in this other direction, and there was like this building, and in one of the rooms there was this really large, like three-faced, like painted wall of the Eleusinian like mysteries, or like a part of those mysteries.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I should have looked it up before, actually. I've got photos of it on my phone. I should have just looked at it. But you see like a part of like these women kind of around, and it's supposed to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And so it's like a sacred space, so that was really cool. So artifacts like pottery and paintings depict various elements of the mysteries. There's like vases, there's like ceramics with like cool paintings about it. And it spans, some scholars have suggested that the mysteries' long-lasting appeal, spanning 2 millennia, may have involved psychedelic experiences.
Oh.
Although this remains debated. I think it did. Just my personal opinion, I think it did. And The Immortality Key, if you read it, it'll probably convince you.
So is the Immortality Key non-fiction or fiction? The book.
It is non-fiction.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it is just a book about.
Yeah. And it's by Brian. I always say his last name wrong. Brian Marescu. And he's the book is great. Like, I should give it to you. You should read it. It's really, really cool. And it kind of sparked a little like research.
Yeah, I'd love to read
bug in me. Anyway, so the name Eleusis likely has pre-Greek origins, connecting it to Elysium and the goddess Eleuthia. So to participate in the Eleusinian Mysteries, one had to swear an oath of secrecy. And there were 4 categories of participants. The first being priests, priestesses, and hierophants. The second, initiates, experiencing the ceremony for the first time. Third, those who had already participated previously, eligible again to participate again. And the fourth, individuals who attained epitheia, meaning they had learned the deeper secrets of Demeter. What that entails, I don't know. I guess you had to be quite, I don't know, illuminated or in some regard.
Yeah.
But it was very, very hush-hush, very secret.
I am very intrigued.
The priesthood overseeing the mysteries was divided into several roles. Hierophants, the male high priest, inherited within the Philadelphia or inherited through 2 families, basically. The high priestess of Demeter was the second, also inherited from those same families. The Dudocus, a male torchbearer, and the second highest role. The Daducosa priestess, a female priestess who assisted with the torchbearer, also inherited in the same families. So basically,
it's just these families.
Basically. The Hierophadantes, 2 married priestesses, one for Demeter and one for Persephone. And the Pangaeus, a group of priestesses who lived apart from men. So there were these important people who were the
mostly from a couple of families.
Mostly from like running this whole ceremony thing. And they were all like inherited too, which I think is really interesting. There were 2 main ceremonies, the Lesser Mysteries, which focused on the struggles of the soul, and the Greater Mysteries, celebrating the soul's joy and purification. The Lesser Mysteries involved sacrifices and rituals to prepare participants for the Greater Mysteries. So the Greater Mysteries lasted 10 days, beginning with the transport of sacred objects to a temple in Athens. Key events included rituals, purification in the sea, and a procession of Eleusis, where participants commemorated Demeter's search for Persephone, and I think they like walked along a certain procession I have a feeling it even spanned like different places. So it's almost like what we would...
Pilgrimage.
A
type
pilgrimage.
thing,
Yeah, really similar. A special drink called the kykeon was also a part of this, possibly containing psychoactive substances, which were consumed during these rites.
Sounds like it did.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it sounds very spiritual, very... And it's all about, like, the soul's, like, rebirth, like, death and rebirth. And, like, I guess the ultimate goal was to have this experience that meant that you understood what that meant. So the kind of end place or the climax of this whole ceremony occurred in the telestrion, a great hall where initiates experienced dramatic reenactments and viewed sacred objects. The rites were strictly confidential, with severe penalties for disclosure. And I think, like, basically being threatened by death, and it was, like, very full on. Like, you just did not talk about what happened in Eleusis stayed in Eleusis, that kind of situation. Some believe the mysteries offered profound spiritual insights, potentially aided by the kykeon drink. So maybe they were getting high.
Yeah.
And seeing some weird shit. Potentially.
I'm very, very interested in that
How
book, if you can.
Cool. It's literally here.
Yeah.
It's in
Might
that.
have to take it with me.
Yeah. The festivities concluded with an all-night celebration, including feasting and dancing open to the public. And finally, on the last day, participants returned home enriched by their experiences. So many scholars believe that the Eleusinian Mysteries gained their power from the kykeon, the drink or the potion that they drank, which may have acted as an entheogen or psychedelic. In ancient Greece, using potions for magical or religious purposes was actually quite common. It was a part of everyday life. And initiates, having fasted and participated in preparatory ceremonies, might have experienced profound spiritual insights from a powerful psychoactive potion.
Yeah, if they fasted beforehand.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I know. And you've got like a whole like different, and dancing all day and like walking all day and like, and then drinking some potion and then losing your fucking mind. You're probably going to see some shit. However, there are skeptics that argue that no solid evidence for this, but that's not true anymore.
Okay.
Oh, that is a nothing card.
And the evidence is?
So in this book, The Immortality Key, Brian actually tracks down an archaeologist working in Spain from a temple that was supposedly, doing these rites, these Eleusinian Mysteries, and they did find what could be psychoactive properties still, using residue analysis.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
You need to read this book. So various psychoactive substances that have been proposed as components of the kykeon could be a fungal parasite named ergot that contains alkaloids similar to LSD. Although I will say that modern attempts to create this hasn't necessarily worked out. But like I said, in the temple in Spain, they did find ergot within this particular, it's like a particular ceremonial vessel that they think that was given to these people.
Okay.
And this is when they did residue analysis and they found ergot.
That's really cool.
So psilocybin could also be potentially maybe something that was used. Another theory proposes that the poppy, also known for its opioid properties, could have been used. Also just like various Mediterranean plants, can cause psychoactive experiences, I guess.
Yeah.
Lastly, which also I think could also play a part in it, a scholar suggests that the mysteries involved trance practices linked to breath control and also like dancing, like rigorous, which can put you in trance-like states.
For sure.
Yeah.
And breathwork is such a thing at the moment.
100%. Very on brand.
Very, very trendy. But like,
yeah,
breathwork has been used all over the world for meditation and
yeah. So this is a topic very close to my heart because I'm like really into it. I don't have time to go into any more detail about it here, but I do suggest looking it up. And the Immortality Key.
Yeah.
Definitely check that out because it was written really well, and
I'm going to take it home with me today.
Yeah, and it looks at historical sources and also at archaeological sites and archaeological material, and I think it was really cool. And it also goes so much more into depth, and the implications of it are wild. Yeah. Basically, I'm just gonna leave it there. But very cool.
That was awesome.
Anyway, that's all I've got. That's a lot.
That's all you've got.
50 minutes later.
Mine will take 1 second. Okay, my turn now.
Your turn.
Ancient Greece. I just quickly wrote, ancient Greece lasted from the Greek Dark Ages, 12th to the 9th century BCE, to the end of classical antiquity, circa 600 AD.
A very long time.
Yeah. Prior to the prior to the Roman period, most of the loose collection of culturally and linguistically associated city-states were unified, kind of, under the Kingdom of Macedon. Okay, so I am talking about the Antikythera Mechanism, which for our yet to be started series, which will go on Patreon.
Yeah.
Also, we have to upload.
We do have to upload that.
Episode 19.
I will do that.
Yeah, I listed it as one of the things we could talk about on our controversies and mysteries. But I just read a little bit about it, and it's started to be figured out a lot more than a lot of the mystery around it is because there's nothing else like it, and it's
what is it?
But that's sort of, I talk about this particular research project that's been happening over the last 15 years, 20 years, where they've made a lot of headway.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And it's funny because you don't really often hear those, those, it doesn't come out in the media as much as you.
And there's decades and decades of mystery around it. Yeah. So changing that won't happen really quickly.
No, yeah. It's not as good of a headline being we solved it rather than,
So it's an ancient Greek astronomical calculator. It was discovered in 1901 and has challenged researchers since then. So it was pulled off a shipwreck off the coast of Crete.
Ah.
So it was found
I had no idea.
Underwater in a shipwreck. It is the oldest known example of an analog computer. And there's been a lot of mystery surrounding it because, nothing else like it exists for comparison. And because it's not complete. So that's part of why it's been this is a thing, it does a thing, we don't know what.
But we don't know what it does.
Yeah. So it is now split into what exists of it, 82 fragments, including 30 corroded bronze gear wheels, but only a third of it exists.
Okay.
And we'll put up a picture of what it looks like.
Yeah.
So in 2005, this group of researchers did X-ray CT scans on it, and sort of decoded the structure of the back of the machine, but the front remains a mystery because the front is not there.
Okay, yeah.
And the X-ray CT also revealed, so this is only in 2005, inscriptions on it.
Ah.
So it's got inscriptions all over the back of it.
And so you couldn't see it with the naked eye.
Because it's really corroded.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense if it was in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the inscriptions describe the motions of the sun, moon, and all 5 planets known in antiquity, which were Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And the inscription describes how they were displayed on the front of it.
That's
as
crazy.
An ancient Greek cosmos. Yeah.
Cool.
Really cool. So the inscriptions specify complex planetary periods, and this forced new thinking on the mechanization of it. But only very recently has a reconstruction come close to matching the data. And it's a digital reconstruction. They haven't made a physical one. It's just digital. It's just like a 3D
like model
rendering. Yeah.
Cool.
New research published in Scientific Reports presents a hypothetical model of the astronomical instrument, which Tony Freeth, the lead author and a mechanical engineer at University of College London, which is where the research has been taking place, says it's the first to conform to all the physical evidence and matches the descriptions in the inscriptions engraved on the mechanism itself. In 2016, scientists presented the results of a decades-long investigation. So the inscriptions, they documented 3,500 characters of explanatory text and a kind of instruction manual embedded onto it. Analysis of this text suggests the Antikythera Mechanism is not a true computer in that it's not programmable. Rather, it was a machine designed to convey our place in the universe and forecast celestial events like lunar and solar eclipses.
Whoa.
Really
and it was
cool.
on a ship.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I didn't actually look that up, or I probably should have, like, what was that ship? Where was it going? Where was it coming from? So fragment A, which is the largest piece of the device, consists of bearings, pillars, and a block, while fragment D contains a disc, the purpose of which is unknown, a 63-toothed gear, and a plate. The purpose of this new study was to gain a better understanding. So the whole reason they did it was to gain a better understanding of the gearing system at the front of the mechanism, which is missing. Right. The inscriptions mention a mechanical cosmic display in which the planets and moon, represented by beads, moved around on rings. And so they've worked at creating this missing sort of component of it. So cool. One of the mechanical engineers from UCL said, solving this complex 3D puzzle reveals a creation of genius, combining cycles from Babylonian astronomy, mathematics from Plato's Academy, and ancient Greek astronomical theories. So the ancient Babylonians chronicled the motions of the planets, and the ancient Greek philosopher Parmenides developed a mathematical model to explain the movements.
Okay. As in, like, this was happening at the same time and these theories worked together? Or?
I think the motion of the planet stuff was earlier.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
Okay. Because it'd just be interesting if, like, they knew that, like, as in, like, they were actively using these theories together.
Yeah.
Rather than kind of accidentally using them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Which it might have been accidental, who knows. And I didn't write down, which I'm really annoyed at myself. There's a couple of people who they think might have been the one that actually designed it, and they're famous names, and I've just completely forgotten to write that down. So maybe we will just...
Do you want to look at it quickly on your phone?
But I will find it, and we can just, like, put some flashing names up on the screen.
For those listening, sorry you miss out.
So the inscriptions on the device mention celestial cycles assigned to Venus at 462 years and Saturn at 442 years. The scientists associated these numbers with what are called synodic cycles, which describe the length of time it takes for a celestial object to return to its original position relative to our view from Earth. And these cycles were important to the ancient Greeks on account of their geocentric view of the universe. So they weren't the celestial bodies weren't going around the sun, they were going around us.
Yeah.
That's what they thought.
Yeah.
Looking up into the night sky, the planets sometimes appear to briefly pause and swing back and forth as they and we on Earth orbit the sun, and that's what a retrograde motion is. So because I don't fully understand how it works, but because we're all going around the sun at different speeds, and there's like points in time where it looks like
that's what that means.
Yeah, I don't understand how it works, but that's what it is. But because the Greeks believed that the planets were revolving around the Earth, they couldn't understand why that was happening, why that was a thing, and devised some really convoluted theories and mathematical explanations to make it work, which they did, but they're obviously all wrong because that's not actually what's happening.
Yeah.
And I wrote down a fun fact. The word planet comes from the Greek word for wanderer.
I love that.
Isn't that really cute?
I love that so much.
Yeah. So, looking at the Antikythera mechanism itself, the researchers realised that components in fragments A and D matched the mechanical motions of Venus, described on the inscription, which exactly models its 462-year planetary period relation, with the 63-tooth gear playing a crucial role. So based on them figuring out Venus, they then determined the cycles of the remaining planets, which they did using the ancient Greek formulas, and then they incorporated these cycles into like compact mechanisms conforming to the actual physical evidence they had. What this all means is that the Greeks, with their geocentric view of the cosmos, made this machine unnecessarily complicated and difficult because they were presenting what's not actually happening. They just had to like make it work. Instead of showing the planets represented by beads moving along circles, moving in a single direction around the sun, they had to show the planets shimmying back and forth during their cycles as they moved around Earth. And this had to be done for each of the 5 planets, with the relative position of each having to be accurate at any given time.
God, that's actually...
in order to predict like eclipses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
but it would just
very
be all wrong.
Complicated.
Yeah. Very convoluted.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they didn't know that, but...
Equipped with their calculations, the scientists then designed and digitally recreated this ludicrously complicated thing, and I'll send you pictures of their recreation because it looks really cool. The simulated machine appears to work, but simulated is the key word. The authors are correct in saying a major step still needs to be completed. So the next phase of the research, and I believe that's being worked on at the moment, is to actually build what they've designed using ancient techniques and materials.
I mean, that's where it's at. How big is it? Like
I've seen pictures of it and it looks like that big, but I don't actually know.
Yeah.
I'll see when we put a picture up. We'll try and put one up with a scale.
A scale, yeah. That's crazy. That's really cool. I just I don't know, when I hear about these like objects or things, it's a little bit like when we were talking, which episode was it? The Roman episode, when I talked about that weird object, the dodecahedron.
With the little...
Yeah.
ball things on
and you're just like, what is it? And why did they have it? How did they use it? But who was using it? Like, so it was on a ship. Was it being transported, or was it like someone wanting to use it while they're on a ship?
Was it a gift for someone, or had someone bought it, or was it going on display somewhere?
Yeah. I love those little, I don't know, those thoughts.
Yeah. And it's such a cool artifact because there is only one. There's only one.
That's crazy.
No one's ever found design manuscript or anything for it.
Yeah.
Nothing else that looks like it, especially that old.
And that's when you get like weird as fuck theories coming in.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Because if you only find one of something, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And it's a really complicated device. But yeah, they've basically figured it out, and
you heard it here, guys. Because I never knew that they like had even made any like, I don't know, headway into like figuring out what it was for, what it was. Again, it doesn't make super catchy headlines.
No.
You know what I mean?
But it would, I mean, they found all the inscriptions in 2005. You'd think that would be out there. Like,
totally.
Hey guys, there's writing all over this thing.
We can read it now.
Yeah.
True. I love it.
Very cute. And that's all I did. I kind of thought it would be a little bit longer, but it wasn't.
No, I love it. We'll put as many photos. We'll find photos. We'll put them up. So cool.
And that's it.
Well, that was again, we choose the most like random topics.
We really do. Sometimes they work really well together and sometimes they're just completely different.
Yeah, totally.
This was a completely different.
You probably didn't get what you want, but that's fine. Yeah, cool. Well, let us know what you liked, what you want to hear more of, what you thought was interesting.
Ideas for topics.
Please let us know. And we will get the Patreon episodes out.
Yes, we have to do that soon.
Yeah, we have. So if you didn't listen to or watch last episode, episode 20, we do have an episode 19. We're just releasing it on Patreon. And it was...
because it was a bit too heavy.
It was a very heavy about the Aztecs.
Yeah.
Which was a very interesting episode. And I do implore you to...
You must. You must watch it. You must listen to it. No, it is really good. It's just a bit dark in spots. And we thought we'll just put it on Patreon. Except we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, sorry. We are very busy. We work a lot.
The last few weeks has been insane.
Yeah, particularly we've been on site a lot, so it's just been a lot. So sorry, and sorry if there's delays. Always, we're trying our best, but yeah, that's it.
So we will see you next time.
Catch you on the flip side.
Bye.
Bye.